Hey, this is Steven Platinum, your friend in wrestling with Platinum versus WWE Smackdown from 11/27/2020, the day after Thanksgiving. What can I say? Last week's show, which was a go home for Survivor Series, I thought was the weakest show that SmackDown had done in quite some time. What do I say about this show? They are right back in it. Boy, setting up angle after angle, advancing thing after thing. Very little to complain about on this show. So let's just jump into it. We're at the Thunderdome, of course, at the Amway Center. Michael Cole welcomes us, and he's joined by Corey Graves. I don't dislike this commentary team. In fact, a couple of guys that I train like this commentary team the most. I prefer Raws, but only by a little bit. I got to say, SmackDown, they do a very good job. Here comes Jey Uso with a mic. And he's like, everyone's talking about the Undertaker, but they should be talking about Roman Reigns. So he continues to hype and do his thing. He does this grand introduction. Reigns comes out with Heyman. He really takes his time. I think that's an aspect of the Reigns character that I think is really wonderful, is as a heel, he takes his time. And that alone seems to inspire this sort of, he's different, he's special, and other people should take note, right? Just saying, in the wrestling business, people should take note. Being different and being special is tantamount to being the guy. The boos get louder and louder. Now, I don't know if this is piped in sound. I suspect it is. But regardless, I think it works here, unlike a lot of the piped in sound, which I find to be really annoying. So we get a video package. And how Team Raw picked up a clean sweep. He wants an explanation from Jay. He says they wouldn't listen. And then again, it all comes down to, how are people going to look at me? How are people going to look at the family if you continue to do this? So they leave. Again, one of these things that you go like, what did that really advance? But again, they're giving you insight on the nuance of this relationship. Plus, Reigns is a powerful figure that sort of draws on his own, I would gather. Smart. So we're going to have Otis versus King Corbin. Holy shit. Boy, talk about starting off weak. Yikes. But then Uso jumps Otis, beats the hell out of him. It is awesome. Boy, does it save me from a match I had zero interest in seeing. Talk about a great start. We got Street Profits versus Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. We go to commercial during it. We come back. It's a good match. Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler managed to win, thus making them strong contenders for their tag titles. So we have this angle set up. We have Otis against Jey Uso set up. Yep. And we're looking at the recent history between Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan. Then Kayla Braxton is backstage with Bryan asking about it. Bryan makes it clear he's out to get the Intercontinental title. And with tonight's win, he's going to get closer to doing just that. Again, setting up matches, giving us reasons to watch. Simple, basic stuff, right? We're going to look at the Undertaker's final farewell segment again after the commercial. So now Kayla's there with the Mysterio family and Murphy. They're relieved that the Seth Rollins chapter of their life is over. Corbin knocks Dominic and then and makes fun of Alia. And then he calls out Murphy for riding Ray's coattails. They hold Murphy back. But guess what? We have another setup here. Wow. Booking. It's fun. We get the final farewell segment, a video about The Undertaker's career. Great stuff. And now we go into Sami Zayn against Daniel Bryan. And we go to commercial. Jesus. We come back. Really, really intense, really, really good match. Bryan eventually follows Sammy. Sammy runs to the backstage area. Bryan chases him. Sami Zayn gets in at 9 and has ditched Bryan somewhere in the back. We don't see Daniel Bryan anywhere. But then we cut to the back and we see Jey Uso pounding Daniel Bryan in the gorilla position. What? Pretty awesome. Kevin Owens makes the save. Uso shoves him away, keeps hitting Bryan. Officials are now all over the place. It's pandemonium. Obviously, the Uso proving himself against everybody and anybody is a thing. We go to commercial. We come back. We see Jey Uso there talking to Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman. Uso tells Reigns he's going to handle this. Kevin Owens walks up and starts kind of going off about Jey Uso and how Roman Reigns treats him and all the rest of it. Reigns says Owens does not look at him with fear. He wants Jey to fix that. Ooh, child. Natalya against Bianca Belair. Hopefully they'll have a good match where Belair wins. That's what I write in my notes. And that's what they have. They have a pretty good match. They love the roll-ups, though. God, WWE. Bianca Belair wins. Bayley yells at her from ringside. Then we see Adam Pearce talking to Paul Heyman. We got Murphy against Baron Corbin. Interesting spot. Murphy covers Corbin. Corbin gets his foot on the rope, but Dominic pushes it off, and the referee counts the pin. So they're all laughing with Murphy. Corbin is furious. He calls the Mysterios cowards. He says he wants a rematch next week, and he says he'll be prepared. Look at this. Advancing angles, all that kind of stuff. Justice served, all the rest of it. Great stuff. We're going to get Jey Uso against Kevin Owens for the main event. So we see Owens taping up for the match. We go to commercial. We get Big E backstage messing around with Apollo Crews. Sami Zayn wants him to get out of the way so he can speak to Kayla about how he beat Daniel Bryan. Sami knocks Apollo, and Apollo says that he's going to see Sami soon. Big E, though, gets in Sami's face as Apollo walks off. Really good promo, really good speech here by Big E. Sami starts ranting about respect. And basically says, my reign's historic and Big E's was forgettable. So Big E grips his hand in a shake, and he hurts Sami and kind of mocks him. And, okay, so Kayla's going to interview Sami, but he yells at her and he storms off. Again, setting up more stuff. Apollo Crews stuff. Big E stuff. Sami Zayn stuff. Great deal. So, let's see. Look at my notes. Billy Kay interrupts Michael Cole and Corey Graves. She has her headshots and her resume. Says she wants to take over the show from them. They are not amused. Carmella. We show her thing where she's been attacking Sasha Banks repeatedly. Carmella puts herself over. We see the Boss jewelry. Pretty dope. Banks attacks her. And then Banks puts her in the Banks statement. And then they separate them. And Banks is yelling and screaming. Carmella retreats. Wow, look, another thing set up. Even though the build-up to this hasn't been great, now they're letting Sasha get some back, and they're going to put some heat on this. I'm all about it. Now we got our main event. Kevin Owens comes out. We go to commercial. I actually enjoyed the WWE shop promo with Bianca Belair and Street Profits. Bianca Belair got it, boy. She just got it. It's just the way it is. Let's go to the match. It was nice that they had a lock-up start for this match. A really good sort of wrestling match combined with this sort of brawl and brutal aspect. Uso avoids the stunner. He sends him shoulder first into the turnbuckles, and then he brings in a chair, and then he smacks him across the back. So Kevin Owens wins by DQ, but that's not the story, of course. So we see Reigns and Heyman watching from backstage. Usos hit him with the chair shots. Uso clears the announce table, but Owens hits him with the stunner. Reigns is upset. We see he's upset about it. Owens is unloading on Uso with the chair, taunting Reigns and talking trash about how he fears no one. Owens tells Reigns if he's got a problem with it, come say it to his face. Owens says he's the head of the table now. Uso's crawling in the ring. Drops Uso with a stunner, saying this is all for Reigns' family. Oh boy. Owens goes back to the announce table and sits at the head of it, taunting Reigns, asking where he is. Reigns watches from the back. Owens tells him he's going to be waiting. Furious Reigns crossing those arms, and we go off the air. So that is 4. Count them 4 angles set up successfully. Really good Smackdown, a really good lesson for the bookers and people who want to think about wrestling, and even wrestlers themselves, to see how to get yourself into angles, because we had a little bit of everything. We had angles that sort of started out of nowhere. We had angles that recovered from bad setups like Carmella. I think her and Banks kind of made us want a thing. And we also had angles that transitioned from one feud and into going to the next one. So really good lesson. It's really good to see SmackDown back in business in a good way. And this has been Stephen Platinum, your friend in wrestling, with Platinum versus Smackdown. Have a great weekend.